What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we got YST on the channel, guys. We're gonna talk about the most OP epic champions in the game. Everyone needs at least one copy of these champions. Before we move over to all that, we just recorded a video on YST's channel as well. Make sure you guys head over and check it out. Drop him a subscribe. The link will be in the pinned comment as well. YST, what's up, brother? Nice to have you on the channel.
How's it going, man? I had to get the Genzin mask in the intro.
Absolutely, you just gotta put like your note in here, you know. Going pretty good, pretty good. Looking forward to drop another one here with you.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to talk about these beastie epic champions, and I'm actually excited to see what's on your list as well.
I'm very curious to see your list as well, because we're gonna have like 10 each, guys. And keep in mind, okay, there are a lot of amazing epic champions in the game. We cannot name every single one of them because we're gonna be here till tomorrow. That's how many they are. But if we're missing any of them, please let us know in the comments down below. But we're talking about the most OP epic champions. Champions that have no equal, okay? So I know a lot of them kind of like have some sort of special meaning for you guys. They might not be on the list, but hey, let's crack on it. I'm gonna let YST to start with the very first champion. What we have on the list, YST.
Yep, the first one we're going to be leading into the Dark Elves, and it's going to be Dark Kale, one of the Doom Tower champions actually. Attainable for most players participating in normal Doom Tower with fragments. And this is a champion that if you're building poison explosion teams, you look no further than somebody like a Dark Kale, especially if you're using Elenaru. Because with the A1 ability, you actually have that chance to instantly activate poison and HP burn debuffs that somebody like an Elenaru does bring on a non-resistible ability. So very, very strong for taking it down, and also great for Giant Slayer procs. And then on the A2, if the attack is critical, you can actually extend the value of debuffs, allowing you to manipulate the poison debuffs so you can combust a lot more easier with like those Zavis and things. And also a decreased attack as well for faction wars.
Yeah.
On the A3 ability, actually places 5% poisons and a poison sensitivity on a 3-turn cooldown, making this so strong for like the Ice Column, right? And detonating with the A1. So I think for such a versatile kit, even for a Demon Lord clan boss, he definitely deserves a top tier category epic champion for sure.
Absolutely, and the good part about it is that you can get it for free from the Doom Tower by completing secret rooms. It's gonna take a while because there are quite a few champions in front of him, but this is one of those champions, the few champions from the Doom Tower secret rooms that when you're getting him, you're still gonna get value out of him on the account, because most of them, they don't really do anything special, you know, and they are a few special ones like Dark Kale here, how that guy said in the interview, if you remember in the video.
He said Dark Kyle or something.
Kyle, yeah, Kale.
No, but even with the Delirium passive, you can actually manipulate the crit rate of bosses, so stops the bad crits from Demon Lord, right? If you're using traditional teams. So I feel like that's a very I'd say underrated passive there for bosses.
Yeah, it's actually a very solid one, man. I gotta give it to him. Not many champions can do what Kyle here can do.
Kyle.
I'm gonna move over to one of the most obvious choices. I think is my most used epic champion in the game, and that's gonna be Seer. A lot of people want her. I don't blame you guys. I know why you want her, because she's such a beast. Like, the A1 attacks one enemy, has a chance to grant an extra turn. Not a big deal. The A2 increase crit rate buff on all allies, weaken debuff on all enemies on a 3-turn cooldown. Keep in mind, you still want to build this champion with 100% crit rate, because she eats the buffs, then deals the damage. So if she eats the crit rate buff, she's gonna lose that crit rate, so the damage is not gonna crit all the time. The main thing is the karma burn. The more buffs on the champion, on the team, the more damage she's going to do, and then she has a chance to sleep the enemies if they decide to stay alive, you know. Very powerful as a champion. She doesn't need attack to do the damage, just crit damage, full crit rate, a savage set, and voila.
Yeah, she's crazy. I know that you're aware that it took me like 2.5 years to get one.
I know.
And then I was like, I had that thing where I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm not going to build this champion. And I just kind of put her on the side. And I was like, nah, this Doom Tower is taking too long. And then I had to put her in the team. So now I do use her in Doom Tower.
I was going to say, you haven't built her yet since? Because
no, for a while I did it, out of spite. Because she never wanted to come to my account, right? Like a Skull Crown. So I thought, forget this chick. And then I was like, do you know what? She brings too much, man. So I just brought her back in.
Because I remember you pull her during the faction war sort of event we had with that with Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they banned her from your org team, and you didn't have her on the test server because you just pulled her. I remember that.
Oh, remember that Team Screnobis? I can't believe we lost that, man.
I know,
we
man.
we need a redemption.
was that close? What you have next on the list?
Next up is actually going to be a new champion from the Sylvan Watchers in White Dryad Nia.
Nice.
Very unique champion, I'd say, with the way that she works with the resetting of cooldowns, I believe, on the A3 ability there.
Yeah, the A2, yeah.
A2, sorry. Removes all debuffs from a target ally, so a nice little cleanse. Heals them by 40% of their max HP, and if the target of this skill is not this champion, decreases the cooldown of all target skills by 2 turns. Now, a way that I was abusing this, a lot actually, was in the Hydra boss. Being able to reset the cooldowns of somebody like a Geomancer and consistently cleansing him actually kept him in the fight for a very long time. And I took out somebody like I forgot who it was, but my team on brutal difficulty was doing around 30, 35 million, so still a wonky. But just by putting her in the team, I got 10 million more damage just from abusing this A2. So
wow.
very, very strong. Also on the A3, has an ally protection and a strengthen on all allies as well. Granted, it is the lower version of strengthen, but still a great damage mitigation alongside the ally protection. And then on the A1 ability there, does a AoE ability with a decreased speed. And I think this is basically Chris A1, right? Is it the same chances?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so have that on a epic champion is just phenomenal, right? So definitely holds that value for me in this game.
Absolutely. She's a very strong addition to the game. Like, it's definitely the best epic from this faction, and she's probably a top 10, top 15 epic champions in the entire game, 100%.
Yeah, she was in the guaranteed event, and I didn't have any voids left, and I was like, for God's sake, I've missed out, and I wasn't willing to spend like £100 on an epic champion. So then, in the recent 2x, when everyone screams for void legendaries, I was like, just give me I wanted a white dryad, and I got her. So
that's nice. Yeah, awesome stuff. I'm gonna move over to another pretty popular epic champion actually, and he was part of the battle pass because we were talking this in a YST's video. Make sure you guys check it out. Stag Knight. Now, it's been added to the game for what, 3 years now, this champion, around there, and I still find value for this champion in endgame content, in progression. It's just one of those champions that ages as well as the wine. On the A1, we have a decreased speed, attacks one enemy 2 times, great on the Fire Knight, great on the Dark Fae, great on progression in dungeons, secret rooms, quite a few other things. The A2 attacks all enemies, defense down, decrease attack on all enemies on a treat and cooldown. What else you need? You have a nuker coming after, you're reducing their damage, then the passive increases accuracy on an ally that gets resisted, you know. So it's actually very solid, very good base stats, awesome champion.
Yeah, I was actually speaking with Chosen, right? And there's like a way that I was using to abuse this passive. And the way that I was doing it is if you guys are struggling with a Geomancer to get the accuracy stats for Iron Twins, that's kind of where I use my Stag Knight with the A1 decreased speed. You can actually abuse the A1 of Geomancer to force the increased accuracy on every single turn. So you just block off the A2, get resisted on purpose with like 250 accuracy on his A1, and then it forces the increased accuracy to be up on the burn ability, which you can also extend with like a Godseeker Aneri if you've got it tuned correct. So you can actually you can abuse this passive without needing a pure increased accuracy champion, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. He's actually a solid one. What's your next epic champion?
My next champion is going to be the only AoE counterattack champion in this game from the Ogrian tribes by the name of Skullcrusher.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, so if anybody that's not aware, there is 3 AoE counterattack champions in the game: Valkyrie, Martyr, and Skullcrusher, and they came out like 3 years ago, right? They've been here for ages, and for some reason, Raid just doesn't want to bring another AoE counterattack champion in the game. Now, I think at the very, very least, they should be bringing in a Void one, whether that be an epic or a legendary. I don't care, because a big problem that players are facing is, yes, there's so many more champions in the game. There's like 700 or whatever. And it's just diluting the pool, making players not being able to get these champions more easily, like we did back in the day. And having somebody like a Skullcrusher can be the difference between having a Nightmare team and an Ultra Nightmare team, because you're placing 2 attacks instead of 1 in those 1-to-1 ratio teams, right? So, yeah, man. I just feel like this champion holds so much value with ally protection and the unkillable buffs and the A1 for damage. He's just really, really strong, right? And he's got a great passive as well for cleansing some of the debuffs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a very strong champion. The only thing is that people need to understand with this sort of champions and teams for clan boss, the reason why the unkillable teams are the most popular ones is because the gear that you need to do them are not... The gear requirements are not as high as for high defense teams. If you're looking to build a team with Skullcrusher, like your gear needs to be spot on. You need to have healing. You need to make sure your champions are not getting hammered instantly, because that can happen. But Skullcrusher is still a very, very strong champion for clan boss, and you can use him in Fire Knight as well if needed, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move over to Demita, talking about unkillable champions and stuff like this. For some reason, it seems like the game is just taking me in all sorts of different areas. She's a newish addition to the game, I would say, like a 1-year-old sort of thing around there, no?
Yeah, I think she was a part of the one of the fusions.
Brogni?
As an
Was it
epic.
Brogni, maybe?
It could have been. I'm not sure.
The A1 attacks one enemy 2 times, places a shield buff for 2 turns. It's not amazing, because this can actually mess up some of the very high-end teams. The A2 increases the duration of all buffs, decreases the duration of all allied debuffs by a turn, heals your team, heals by a further 2.5% of the max HP for each turn added to or removed from the duration of buffs and debuffs. So it's a very nice heal. The A3, block damage and continuous heal on all allies for 1 turn, the continuous heal for 2 turns, but on a 3-turn cooldown, enabling so many different unkillable teams. And not just that, she's actually even great for the Sand Devils, the Necropolis, if you're looking to do a block damage team there, because she's just so nice. And defense aura for all battles. Amazing champion.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's actually my current clan boss team as well, and I love using it. It's because I was that traditional person who was just like, I'm not building an unkillable team, I'm not doing it. But then obviously with content, I'm sure you can kind of resonate with this.
Absolutely.
Block damage teams are like the best way to showcase damage of new champions. So I had to build one. So yeah, the myth is really cool.
Absolutely. What you have next on the list?
Next up is probably my top 3 best epic champions in the game in Godseeker and Iri.
Absolutely. I do not...
I feel like Godseeker and Iri is one of those champions where no matter where you go in the game, you find a role for her, right? You talk about Sand Devil's Necropolis, duo strategies of ninjas, or the other champions that you can do it with. You talk about Iron Twins Fortress, right? Preempting of hits and the reviving as well on the E3. You talk about Hydra Boss, Demon Lord Clan Boss. She's just such a versatile champion. And I keep saying, if she was a legendary, right? If she came out as like a legendary fusion, fragment fusion, I would actually think she was a really solid champion, honestly. I feel like she's amazing.
Absolutely. She is, in my opinion, the best support epic champion in the game, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
She's very cool. And they're very similar to the Demithra as well, right? Extending and decreasing of cooldowns on the A2. We've got a nice AoE heal as well. A1 for heals. Actually, the revive on the A3 is very unique because it actually resets the cooldowns of all your skills. So if somebody dies in Hydra, like a Geomancer, bring him back, place those burns back up, and you'll be completely fine. And also that preempting of hit on the passive, which is very strong.
That's actually the sickest thing. Like, you remember when she got released, she was everywhere in Platinum Arena because of her skills. Very powerful for the Bommel. Just all around, man, she is such a godly champion. 100%. Yeah. Like, early game, mid game, end game, no matter where you are in the game, everybody needs a freaking Godseeker on Iri because she's so damn powerful, man.
Was she a guaranteed at some point? I feel like she was. I'm not too sure though.
I think she maybe. I can't remember actually. Yeah, we had so many guaranteed events and 10x events because my head is just spinning around with all of them. It's crazy actually. I think she was guaranteed though at some point actually. Yeah. I'm gonna go over to another unkillable champion, and that is Maneater. Now, a lot of people tend to think that, well, he's only good in Clan Boss, but he's not only good in Clan Boss.
No.
I used to run him on my Fire Knight team, decrease attack, turn meter manipulation, because it fully depletes the target's turn meter. You can use him on the Spider, you can use him on the Dark Fate to help you with the turn meter, with the attack down if needed. He just brings in so many roles. You can choose Faction Wars with him, you can choose Nightmare Campaign with him. So many different things that Maneater can actually do, and he's just such a beast of a champion. Block debuffs and unkillable, enabling your team to go in Clan Boss without needing a cleanse. That is just nuts, you know.
Yeah, he's great. Everybody does actually think like, oh, it's just Clan Boss, but as you're saying, that full depletion of turn meter is actually very rare. I can't recall too many epic champions that fully deplete. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the ones that like I kind of think of is maybe like Lissandra does a good one. Then there's like Grohawk the Bloody does it on like his A2 or something. But a full depletion is actually very strong, especially for a Void. Like maybe for Dark Fae, if you guys need an extra turn meter manipulator or Fire Knight, very strong for the A2.
Yeah, 100%. What do you have next?
Next up is going to be another one of my favorite champions from the Barbarians, and it's going to be Skytouch Shaman.
Nice. I like it a lot as well, yeah.
Yeah, so for a very similar thing to Godseeker and Eri, I feel like she holds a lot of value in this game in so many places. Now, the way that the passive works is, it reads very weird, and I always like to reiterate this when I'm speaking about it, is it damages this champion by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn, and everybody thinks, what on earth is this champion doing? She's just killing me, right? Well, the fact is, right there's a full stop in the kit, in that sentence, and then it basically heals all allies except this champion equal to half of this champion's current lost HP. So I feel like a place that people get confused is, it reads in a way where she damages by 10%, you are now going to heal by 5% of the 10% HP lost, whereas it actually works for the total lost HP. So let's just say, hypothetically, you've got 100,000 HP built on your Skytouch Shaman, you're now at 50% HP, you will then get a 25% heal from the value there. And that makes it one of the best healers for somewhere like Iron Twins and many places like Bommel with this kit here. Also on the A2, if you just want to put her in an immunity set, you can actually come through in Arena, cleanse off the debuffs, place the block debuffs, and revive on death, just to make sure you haven't got those nasty freezes and stuff on your champions. So, yeah, one of my favorite champions in the game.
Absolutely. Like, we used to run the champion in Arena like ages ago when they released her. She was such a beast. The heal, the block debuffs, the cleanse is just like next level. Not to add the revive on death as well, which was going to be pretty powerful as well.
Yeah, but I guess the only downside of her is in like longer battle fights, if you want her as like a main healer in like a regeneration set, because you're healing and decreasing at the same time, you actually hardly ever die.
Yeah.
But the only downside is if you're relying on the block debuffs all of the time, she can have that chance to place decreased speed and the true fear on herself. So you just have to be wary of that in the compositions that you're using. Like for me, I just use it to abuse the passive, right?
Yeah.
But it just depends how you're using it.
Yeah, it's just her passive is a bit wonky every now and then, but it's still very powerful.
Very viable, yeah.
I'm gonna move over to the next champion, and this is no one else but Venomage. What a beast. She can solo quite a lot of content in the game, and just generally all around brings so many things to the table. Because we were talking about Dark Hail, she does have a very similar thing on the A1. Each hit has a 35% chance fully booked higher to activate up to 2 poison debuffs on the target. Pair her with the Vizier in Clan Boss. Vizier constantly increasing the durations of poisons, and her constantly detonating poisons is just so nice. And she can solo the Lizardman Secret Room, amazing for faction wars, amazing for Clan Boss, because we have decreased defense, decreased attack if the target is under poisons. Then she lands heal reduction and poisons with the A3, and probably you guys are like, I don't need heal reduction on Clan Boss. No, but enemies under heal reduction inflict 15% less damage because of her passive accuracy aura for all battles. Top-notch champion in my opinion.
Yeah, that is one thing that people do really forget about Venomage. Like, it's one of the only champions where if you don't want heal reduction, you've now got a reason to use that. And if you start pairing it with other damage mitigations and Stalwart sets on your champions and Geomancer passives, you actually start to see a huge return in that. Even though there's a bit of diminishing returns once you start adding it all up, but it is very, very strong.
Absolutely.
But yeah, very, very strong champion.
What we have next?
Next up is one of the best turn meter manipulators in the game. I'm sure you're aware that Allure definitely deserves to be on this list.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Now, this champion here is very, very strong because it's one of those champions that straight out the packet, you pull her, you do not need books to use her just for the turn meter, because on the A1 ability, we have a chance to crack the turn meter by 25% for each critical hit. So make sure you guys are building her with that 100% crit rate. And if you don't care about the extra damage, literally just block off the other skills for like the Dark Fae or the Fire Knight on wave 3. And then boom, you're literally reducing the turn meter every single time. Now, she does have a Hellfish Blaze, which is great for faction wars or wave clearing, and a small drop defense and sleep on the A2. But the main thing, I feel like if you put in a lore, you're getting very happy for that A1, right?
Absolutely. Like, she's the only champion in the game that has so much turn meter manipulation on the basic skill. No legendaries, nothing can do what she does actually. And
some champions have tried. They've tried, but they can't get it.
They failed, you know?
They failed.
How he mentioned, yeah, you're gonna wanna block the other skills, just go with the A1. That's kind of like what she does, and she does it better than anyone else in the game.
Yeah, she's one of those quirky champions that she's just stupid with the AI, and she likes to do weird things on the Fire Knight sometimes. I think they changed it recently though, if I'm not mistaken, with the AI.
Yeah, they changed the AI on the Fire Knight actually. They're not gonna use the other skills on the shield.
But in places like Faction Wars, I still see occasionally doing it when I don't want it. So
yeah. Better
just
have them switched off at least for the third round when you get at the boss, because now we have different rounds, which will definitely make it easier for us to kind of like use the AI on the champions how we want. I'm gonna move over to another very popular champion. Seems like I'm getting them all. Madame series, and we have Ryan the Conjurer as well. Big shout out to Ryan. Is a strong one too, but Madame is just Madame. Even though for Platinum Arena it's not in the meta at all anymore because of polymorph and other things like that, but just generally for arena progression, having a Madame series is like activating a cheat, honestly. Stripping all buffs, decrease attack, decrease defense on all enemies is just so freaking powerful, guys. Then she has a chance to land fear with the A1, a chance to land fear when the shield is broken because the passive puts a shield on her. The A2, she has a chance to steal buffs and put block debuffs on your team. Man, she is just so amazing. Like, look at the reviews.
Yes,
Bang,
crazy.
Bang, bang. It's just powerful everywhere. She's not that great for clan boss, not that great for defense down in dungeons. If you have slightly better options that do it on a 3-turn cooldown, but she's just very, very nasty as a champion.
Yeah, 100%. And she's actually one of those champions, again, guys, that you don't really need to book if you're just using it for the Midnight Ritual to a nuking arena. Like, if you guys don't have the books or whatever, and you're like, oh, can I use my Madame Ceres yet? Of course you can, because it's just cooldowns, right?
Yeah.
And if you need to sit and wait 4 turns for a cooldown to come around, you're probably dead by then, right? In the arena.
Yep, dead meat.
So, yeah, obviously it's worth booking if you can. Obviously, you get a bit of extra value, like, elsewhere in the game. But if you're just using it for one thing, like Arbiter into stripping, CC, and then nuke, there's no reason why you need to book this champion, right?
Absolutely, and it's not that sort of stripping, guys. I know what you're thinking about.
Everyone get onto you for that, for the stripping.
I know.
I tell you what, guys, in our collab, he kept going to the barbarians, and now we know why.
Exactly. I've got a bit of a soft spot for it. You know, I'm a softie. What's the next champion that we have on the list?
Next champion is going to be from the Ogrin tribes, and it's one of my favorite champions as well, in Ugo.
Absolutely.
Now, when this champion came out, it was actually one of my first ever videos, right? My first ever video on Raid Shadow Legends, fun fact, was reading out the patch notes with Ugo and King Garog and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, Ugo, one of those champions that you can place a block buffs and a drop defense, making him one of the best viable champions for the Hydra boss. And I actually went and built up my second one, and I built them both very well. As you guys know, we need so many champions for Hydra with different teams. Also, A1 for the Leech, allowing you to heal by 18% of the damage inflicted that can scale off War Master procs. And A3 with a bit of a cleanse and takes off those heal reductions, which is very strong for the Hydra as well, right?
Yeah.
So, with the revivability, if you use it in the right way, but you kind of have to be in it. It's very hard to, it's probably harder to do it than not to do it. So,
I think so, exactly. Like, if you don't want it to happen, it's going to happen. If you want it to happen, it might not happen. But how you mentioned, Ugo, she's a very strong champion. I was actually looking the other day to build a second one, but funny enough, I don't have another one available.
Oh, really?
Yeah, funny enough. Yeah, I don't know how, but probably I've had quite a few before without paying attention, you know? I'm gonna get another one at some point.
You say that, and then it's just not gonna come now.
It's gonna be a while, that's for sure. That's for sure. I'm gonna move over to the next champion, and that's gonna be no one else but Doom Priest. What a freaking beast, man. Like, all you need from Doom Priest is this thing right here, the passive. Removes one random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. Chuck Doom Priest on a Relentless set, or depending what you're planning to use it. If you're planning to use Doom Priest in Clan Boss, probably Relentless is not the best idea. But this passive is just so damn powerful in so much content. Like, just think about all the Doom Tower bosses, right? Like, you're gonna use Doom Priest. If there are 12 bosses, you're gonna use Doom Priest most probably in I don't know, 7 or 8 bosses, right? Like, on teams for those bosses. It's just such an amazing epic champion. And every time new content comes in, the value of Doom Priest just goes higher and higher and higher. Increased attack on a 3-turn cooldown. Great for Faction Wars. Great for Doom Tower. Great for a Clan Boss if you need a cleanser. All around an amazing champion, yeah.
Yeah, and also, once again, guys, Skratch is getting all the picks that you don't even need books for to be amazing.
You see, I'm thinking of you guys.
It's good because obviously it's a big problem in this game, right? I'm sure you can agree.
biggest.
Like the books. So if you can actually start to have these champions that we're talking about as end game viable, that don't need books, it actually starts to become really cool for players. So I love talking about champions like Doom Priest.
Absolutely. What's the next champion you have on the list?
Next up is going to be Torogi the Frog from the Shadowkin. The big frogman, there he is. Now, this champion, apart from the amazing aesthetics, Skratch likes this kind of stuff.
Love it, love it.
But basically, one of the best champions in the game in terms of clan boss, right? Talk about the A3 ability, having a shield and ally protection on a free turn cooldown, by the way, in the same ability, making this one of the best champions to pair with our Underpriest Brogni in those Lydia extended teams. Also with the reflection of poisons, right? On the passive ability, making this a great poisoner, probably an underrated poisoner. And if you don't want to use it in clan boss, has a very strong AoE provoke and decrease attack A1 for versatility. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely very, very strong all around with everything that the champion brings to the game. And not only for clan boss, man, like just generally all around this is a lot of
very strong.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
He's actually the key to faction wars as well, because ally protection is the best way to tank the bosses in faction wars when they ignore the defense, and I believe that's the Shadowkin one. It's
yeah,
the same as
it
the
is
dwarves.
on stage 21.
So if you actually have ally protection on your champions and you keep getting nuked, literally, if you got that up, you're not gonna get any kind of smack because of the way it scales. So
yeah, and
very strong.
Plus you're getting the shield as well, which will help you quite a bit too, you know. So definitely pretty nice. I'm gonna move over to the next champion, and it's gonna be no one else but Husk. I love this. I love this freaking beast, especially since Hydra got a bit nerfed, and now we can actually provoke the Head of Decay. The A1, a chance to provoke, not the highest chance, but if you're running 2 Husks in the team, you're gonna keep that head under control. Enemy max HP, and we have the A3, which deals decent damage, but I prefer to use the A1 to constantly keep that provoke on. Very good base stats, much easier to build this champion with survivability, comparing him to a Royal Guard or something like that, like a Cold Heart. All around awesome champion, man.
I love him. I built up my second one recently, and I'm just like, it's so funny. I'm just trying to like replicate my same team for all the difficulties on Hydra. So I'm just building all the dupes for that.
Let me just show you something.
How many you got?
Talking about Husks, you built your second. I have one. Wait. What is it?
It's
I had one ascended somewhere here, awakened, sorry, but I lost him. I have 4 copies, actually. All build, though.
Damn. Yeah, do you use like 2 in the same Hydra team, or do you just... Oh, good.
The thing is, I didn't have Acrisia before either, you know, so I thought ahead of, okay, there are different affinities. I'm going to build this many Royal Guards, this many Husks. Once you reach a particular level in the game, you're not really going to have that many champions to 6-star, and all these champion training events and fusions, you're going to have to find champions to 6-star, man. So I just had to do some multiple ones. What's your next champion?
Next one is going to be the Granny. Can you guess?
The Granny?
Yeah.
No.
From the Knights Revenant.
Ah, okay, the Granny. Got you. Director Drat. I was like, the Granny? What is he talking about?
I just had to throw you off there.
I know.
I'm sure you'd agree. One of the best epic champions for support, right? We talk about...
The heal is very strong, yeah.
The heals, the perfect veils for damage mitigation. We got revives. There's just so much going on in a kit that makes her so cool for this game. I'd say the only downside of her is she takes so bloody long to take her turns. It's like your faction wars runs can be like 15 minutes, and they could be 7 minutes if you just stop doing the animations.
Yeah, she's just doing like this. I don't think you can see my camera, but she's just like constantly. I'm like, come on again, yeah. Like she takes long, but she's very powerful with the revive, the perfect veil, the
it's really cool because if you guys are struggling in places like Bommal as well for like resistance, she actually applies resistance if you're under veil with a great aura as well. And I used her in getting through Eternal Dragon for the first time and stuff like that. So yeah, I love her, man. Really cool champion.
She's definitely a juicy one, a solid one. Definitely worth building at least a copy, you know.
Yeah.
The next champion that I have on the list, seems like I'm taking all the high DPS in here. It's gonna be no one else but Geomancer.
There he is. I'm sure everyone was waiting for this one. Like, are they going to mention Geomancer here?
Yeah, are they what? No Geomancer on the list? Get out of here, you guys suck. The number 1 boss slayer in Raid Shadow Legends. Ninja used to hold this title for a little while, but then Geomancer happened and was like, Ninja, get out of here. This is my turf, you know? Fully depletes the target star meter, Fills this champion's turn meter by the amount the target loses, so it's basically stealing it. HP burn and weaken on the target for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, allowing you to always keep the debuffs on. And basically this passive reflects damage back. So much damage, guys. It's just absolutely insane. Clan Boss is amazing on Affinity, not on Void, because the Clan Boss does multi-hits. Hydra, the Iron Twins Fortress, Sand Devil's Necropolis, not that powerful because it works a bit differently, the mechanic. But
yeah,
Pommel, so many bosses in the game, like it's just crazy.
You can never have enough Geomancers.
I know.
You can have 10 of them.
I have 4 copies of this as well.
Oh, look at him, guys. He's just flexing on us, right? Look at him.
Yeah.
He's bringing out the big guns.
I'm definitely bringing in the big
Geomancers.
guns with it. It's just they're the key champions for Hydra, you know, that's why.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
I built them for, and then I had to make a different one for the Iron Twins with stupid accuracy, because you need like 500 plus accuracy on him and things, you know.
Yeah, actually, I built 2. One with War Master for Hydra, and then one for Iron Twins without it.
I have the same with that War Master, yeah.
Yeah.
What is
right.
the next one that you have on?
I think it's the final champions now, right?
Yeah, I think we are at the
So-
final ones, yeah.
A big shout out to Nub Rates. We're going to talk about Archmage Helmet from the
I was gonna say he's the champion, Nub Raid.
He actually is. That's literally his logo. Have you seen it?
Is it? Yeah, I haven't paid
Yeah.
attention actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Mr. Archmage Helmet. But basically, this champion is once again, guys, from the normal Doom Tower, and I feel like they did a phenomenal job with those first few bunch, right? We
It's
had
the
Akoff
first one,
Sid.
right? I think it's the first one that we're getting, no?
I think it's between him and Akoff Sid. It could have been him, actually.
Yeah.
You guys let us know in the comment section anyway. But this champion is amazing because if you talk about the psychic guidance on the A3, does it increase speed, increase crit rate, and increase crit damage on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Now this is so good, right?
Absolutely.
Also on the time slip, does attacks one enemy, then will attack all other enemies if the first attack is critical. So make sure you guys are building that 100% crit rate, because he will then enable a stun debuff, making him a very strong crowd control champion. And if you don't place the stun, you can now manipulate with turn meter instead. A1 ability, filling the turn meters as well. And with the passive, being immune to turn meter decrease effects, making sure that he doesn't get cut out from what you're trying to do. So, yeah, I think he's a very strong champion. And if you talk about arena, and you don't have a better speed aura by the time you get this champion, has a 17%, which isn't the best, but could be nice for 3v3, right?
Yeah, definitely. I wish this would have been all battles actually. It would have fit better with the champion, you know. But it's...
even if I honestly feel like they should have made it for Doom Tower battles. I think if they did like 19% or even the 17% for Doom Tower, I think it will get a lot more value.
Yeah, because you don't actually end up in using this champion in arena.
Yeah.
Not at all, actually.
But I feel like what they was trying to do is they were trying to make a counter to turn meter reduction like Lysandre's and Deacon, because they did the one of the first champions to be immune to turn meter, right?
Yeah.
Being an epic. So I feel like I knew what they was trying to do. It just kind of never worked out that way, and he turned out into more of a PvE champion than PvP.
Definitely. But it looks awesome actually as a champion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you guys over to the last champion that we have on the list, and that's no one else but Mr. Takedown, Royal
There
Guard.
he is.
Amazing in the Fire Knight, amazing in the Dark Fae, great in the Hydra, great for progression in all the dungeons because of the takedown, enemy max HP, AoE. Then on the A1, a chance to land defense down. You have attacks 4 times at random, decrease turn meter, decrease speed. Such an amazing champion, guys. Build him progression, probably on Savage is the best way to get the max damage out of him. But then Relentless, or if you want to use a Reflex set, is just super strong on the champion. Very nice champion.
It's so weird how the game's changed over the years, right? Because we used to just like one shot the Dragon 20 and all that stuff, but then obviously, guys, you do get diminishing returns in the higher stages from 21 to 25, but then he still has the amazing value for endgame players in the Dark Fae, for me personally.
Yeah.
Like that A3 is so strong, like decreased speed and turn meter, and then leading through with takedown, which still hits like over 200k a pop. So, and also for Hydra Boss, if you guys are building him there, really cool for both of those abilities too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's just doing so much damage.
Yeah, it's always a plus having a champion that can carry from early game into the end game and still have value. He's just definitely worth 6 stars, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, all these epic champions that we just named right now, guys,
beasts.
they're gonna have value in the end game. Now, there are a few other epics that we haven't mentioned, like Deacon Armstrong, Farrakhan the Fat, Vergis. They're all amazing champions, and I'm sure they're many others that we haven't mentioned. Mainly is because you're not gonna have so much value in the end game unless you're using Deacon in the clan boss team. Then it kind of falls off for the rest if you have other champions around. But they are.
I'd say that maybe well, if I was just to throw some honorable mentions in there, I'd say probably someone like a Magna would be probably
of course.
more of the end game viable as a HP based nuker. And then you got champions like Umberland Enchantress, one of the only epics that can place a 2-turn provoke instead of a 1-turn, so you can lock people out.
And the block buffs as well
on Hydra. There's just so many champions in this game, guys. But obviously, we didn't want to keep it there for 15 hours. But there is so many cool champions in this game. But
we had to kind of make like our top 20, what we're using the most and stuff.
It makes it harder and more fun. It makes us trigger our brain a bit. It's like, if we could have 10 really cool epic champions, who would we choose, right?
It's actually pretty hard. So you know what? Because I've been on a YST's channel, I just YOLO'd the shard for you guys. I'm gonna YOLO one in his honor for being here. We're gonna open a sacred shard. Let's see if we're getting anything out of here. YOLO and good luck, everybody.
Lensin.
And
who did we get? Oh, that's a good one, though.
Yeah, that's a
really nice epic.
A solid one. We haven't mentioned her, but she's another amazing epic champion. Increased defense, block debuffs. The passive is just crazy. Attack down, defense aura. But that's pretty much all for this video, guys. Much love. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching the video. And we'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.